Embrace life as a political independent. That particular kernel of advice coming from an unlikely source, former Biden White House press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, who at just 4.5 months out of the White House seems to be distancing herself from her former boss. And now she's announcing that she has switched her political affiliation to independent. That announcement comes Wednesday alongside a promotion for her new tell-all book titled Independent, a look inside a broken White House outside the party lines.
Chronicles the 3 weeks leading to President Biden's decision to drop out of the race and the alleged party betrayal that led to his decision. Here she was back in February speaking about that alleged betrayal.
And real quick, please make sure that you like, and subscribe. It's going to help boost the algorithm, get as many people in here engaged in this conversation as possible. Maybe even copy the link and send it to your friend group. Thank you.
There was a disconnect for me. What was happening with leadership in the Democratic Party and how it was truly, as my former colleague, communications director Ben LeBolt said, it was a firing squad, and I had never seen anything like it before.
In a promotional release, the book's publisher said that KJP, quote, didn't come to her decision to be an independent lightly. She is also quoted as saying, the danger we face as a country requires freeing ourselves of boxes. We need to be willing to exercise the ability to think creatively and plan strategically. We need to be clear-eyed and questioning rather than blindly loyal and obedient as we may have been in the past.
You're reading her quote in a Trump voice?
Was that a Trump voice?
Some on the left, though, seeing it as something of a betrayal by the former senior staffer. Journalist and author of the newsletter Public Notice, Aaron Rupar, responding to the news of the book on Wednesday, posting on X, quote, it's sad that Biden stuck with Karine Jean-Pierre for all those years, despite the fact that she was not great at her job, only for her to turn around and write a book about why she left the Democratic Party and is now an independent.
Meanwhile, Scott Jennings on CNN Wednesday echoed what many conservatives are saying, and I bet I'm going to agree with it. Take this book with a grain of salt. Listen.
I mean, I think the things we've learned in the last 2 years is that the two least credible sources of information in this world are the Gaza Health Ministry and Karine Jean-Pierre. And when she puts this book out, every single person who reads it, reviews it, or discusses it needs to remember that virtually everything she said about what was going on behind the scenes in the White House was an outright lie.
First and foremost, want to give a huge shout out to everybody that continues to tap in with us, like and subscribe and join our community. If you haven't already, please make sure that you do. We look forward to engaging in some dope convo with you that can help us all elevate. So like, subscribe, and maybe even share the video if you're feeling real generous. On that note, we'll let you get back to the video. See you soon.
And so when she puts a book out, I think we ought to treat it from a source that has a proven track record of lying from the podium of the White House to the American people.
I mean, is he wrong, though? This is the same lady that stood up every day defending, like a lot of other Democrats that y'all trust and love, the cognitive capabilities of Joe Biden, knowing damn well he was not well. This man, it's amazing to me how these people feel so comfortable lying and then coming out like a Jake Tapper and wanting some type of credibility when you write your book, as if you didn't lie this entire time and mislead people. Now, you could sit here and say, oh, well, she had to lie. That was her job. She don't have to do anything. She doesn't have to do anything. Matter of fact, don't a lot of y'all Democrats, don't y'all salute and talk about how, oh, well, what did these people do after they started working for Trump? They left Trump's administration. They left this, they left that. What better example to see Karine Jean-Pierre becoming an independent right after, months after I don't know when this decision came because she already got the book out. It's only been months. She could have been back in office with Biden. It's only been months. So how are people now supposed to take this as Karine Jean-Pierre leaving the Democrats and becoming independent? What does that say about Joe Biden? What does that say about the Democratic Party? Karine Jean-Pierre is willing to leave the Democratic Party and Vons and everybody else that continues to vote Democrat and continues to vote liberal, even though they don't do anything for you, will defend the Democratic Party to the death. And even if you don't defend it out loud, you defend it when you go into the voting booth and vote for them over and 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 over again. Shout out to Karine Jean-Pierre. She got more courage than a lot of us. She's got a lot more courage than a lot of us, perhaps. And we could be saying that, and my point earlier was about, you could say that, she just lied because she's working with Biden. Well, maybe she's just lying now because she's selling a book and she doesn't have a job. So she just lied because she had a job and it was a job. Well, when you no longer have that job, maybe you're lying as well to get some money coming in.
Yes, that is correct. I think
so. We'll leave that there. Because there's a couple things I wanted to keep playing their conversation around that, but there's a couple other videos that I wanted to show. Let's look at this Dr. Phil video. So Dr. Phil did a story in which he was talking about how the news outlets are covering this LA riot story. So we're not gonna watch as much as we could have, or less than I anticipated us, but we'll watch as much as we can. Let me just make this full screen, and then let me hold on. And yeah, Queez, now they saying F her because she ain't down no more. She left the gang. She dropped her flag. Yo. Now they want DP her. She got to get jumped out the gang. That's what they saying. What this administration is doing is developing a generational hate towards them with the abuse of power. Vons. I don't think that a lot of Democrats realize, and I think this is what a lot of us can fall victim to, especially when we only surround ourselves with people that think the same way that we do. My response to your statement, Vons, is that I think you may not be reading the room correctly because you're standing in a corner of the room with just the people that think the same way that you think. Americans voted for Trump. Americans wanted to address the border. Americans don't think that boys should be playing sports against girls. Americans don't rock with DEI. They don't. Black people may. Certain people that can take advantage of it, or the Democrats that really push it because it benefits them in getting votes may, but the majority of Americans, let me not even say even if there's not a majority. I think that what tends to happen is in our little bubbles, we think that everybody else sees the world the same way that we do. And that's the point that I was making earlier with Vons. When you don't get out and leave the town and your same friends that you've had since you were 3, 4, 5, 6 years old playing football with your entire life, that's you've never had an extended group outside of that where you're able to learn how different cultures conduct themselves, learn how different cultures see the world, learn how different races see the world, learn how people that think completely differently than you come from different countries, come from different parts of America. You're not able to see the entire big picture. So you may think like, oh my God, everybody's just hating the Donald Trump administration. I predict the opposite. I really predict the opposite. I predict the opposite, that at the end of Donald Trump's presidency, it'll be even harder for people to rock with Democrats. Like this is, let me scare some of the Democrats real quick. Let me scare some of the Democrats. Maybe this is going to scare y'all. If Donald Trump's deal with China is actually official, y'all do realize that a lot of the things that Donald Trump has put in place and has done have been things that presidents have been trying to do for a very long time. That this hatred that you think Donald Trump, that a lot of people, or Vons, that a lot of people have for Donald Trump, he did the hardest things in the beginning. And it's usually when you introduce something like tariffs, that initial shock to the country, it's almost as if like, oh, initially like, yo, everybody pulling the stocks out, everybody doing this. That initial shock is going to be the most drastic shock. But when you take a step back and look at it, Trump used tariffs to do the same thing that Democrats and Republicans have been talking about for 30 years. Right? He's bringing more factory jobs back using the tariffs, and he's addressing the deficit that we have with China, which is our biggest enemy, our biggest friend, depending on who you're talking to. He stopped this border crisis that Joe Biden said that he could not do with an executive order and that they had to come up with a plan using. He nipped that in the bud. He's deporting illegal migrants and putting American citizens first, whether American citizens like it or not. He's addressing the issue with DEI and bringing things back to a merit-based rather than race-based society. A lot of these things that Donald Trump is doing are going to be heralded as heroic when he's done. A lot of times you can't appreciate the things that somebody's doing in office while they're there. But all these wins that he's adding along the way, and when you compare it to, let me ask you this, Vons, what was Joe Biden's biggest win? What was Barack Obama's biggest win? And y'all that support Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, don't leave Vons out here on his own just because Vons has the courage to actually say the stuff that he's thinking. Y'all contribute too. Tell me, what was the biggest win that Barack Obama had? What was the biggest win that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden had? Trump is in what, month 6? 5.5, 6? And we're seeing these things occur. The only thing that y'all can do is call him racist and use the LA riots to get people to go against Donald Trump, because when you look at the results of the things that he's actually doing, most Americans agree with it. Now, most Americans that you are around may not agree with it, because we tend to be around people that are just like us, think just like us, eat the same way that we, it just is what it is. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And Unc said Barack Obama did balance the budget. I'm not totally, if that's the case, Unc, then that's a good thing. If that's the case, then that's a good thing. So it seems like we should be celebrating Donald Trump for trying to do the same. If a Democratic president was doing the same things that Donald Trump is doing, they would be heralded as one of the greatest presidents of our time, maybe in the history of the country. How do I know? Because that's the silliness that you say about Barack Obama and Joe Biden. They say Joe Biden is one of the greatest presidents of our time. It's like, why? How? What did he do? Let's find out who was really running the country. Maybe we could salute them. Mo Crush said Trump equals Mount Rushmore. That's how I predict it. I really do see that. I see that happening. I really do. I really do. And another thing that Donald Trump did that a lot of people, now the issue's about to hit the fan when it comes to Israel and Iran. But another thing that a lot of people said that Donald Trump wouldn't do. Think about the things that y'all criticize about Donald Trump. He's being controlled by Elon. You still think he's being controlled by Elon? You still think that Elon is controlling President Trump, Donald Trump, because he's the wealthiest man in the world? You still believe that? I don't think so. Donald Trump, he's being controlled by Israel. There's some things that have happened over the last couple of weeks where I'm not sure that that's the case. And perhaps more than any other president, he's been willing to stand on separating himself from Israel and going outside of Israel and negotiating with different countries in that region on his own. I'm not sure that a lot of these other presidents had the courage to do so. Whether or not that's the right thing or not, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying those are the critiques that y'all had for Joe Biden. So, bro, Queez said, who the hell said that? LOL. Joe Biden was the greatest. I'll tell you who said it, Queez. The same people that are probably on Von's TV show. Hold on. What time does The View come on? What time does The View come on? What time does The View come on TV? Hold up. I'll tell you who said that. The View airs at 11. So the same people that are getting ready to be on a TV in Von's crib at 11 o'clock, those are the people that said Joe Biden's one of the greatest presidents of all time. And those are the same people who are watching that TV show that are raising a lot of our young men and women. Y'all take from that what y'all want to take from that. All right, so let's take a look at this. And Queez said, I'm not watching that ish. Queez, you're not. But I know some folks who are. Vons, is that playing at 11 in your all right, let's continue.
I said, I genuinely want to know. I want you to comment below whether you agree or disagree. Now, look, pictures don't lie most of the time.
And just to be clear, I'm only saying that because of Vons has made comments before saying that The View comes on at 11 in the crib. I don't know who's watching it, but I'm just saying.
Ew, it's Dak. Just want to thank you for checking out our video and visiting the OG Network. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure that you give us a like. And if you're looking to join a community of inspired individuals striving for purposeful abundance, subscribe. And if you're feeling real generous, share the video with some friends and family. All right, I'll see y'all soon. Ew.